We can have Dick Cheney in here, Bush. I mean, that'll be great, man. And welcome into the Gaming Discourse. I'm Tyler Frater alongside Richard De La Cruz.
Hello.
And Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
Good evening.
It is Monday, December 11th, 2023. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse, Patreon.com/The Gaming Discourse, where you can support us for $2, $4, $7, $10. Get your name in the video credits, early access to our videos, access to our Discord server, and more fun stuff like that. On the podcast now, we have Anthony Mackie, who's going to do his stand-up special. No, he's here in his stand-up special, Grunting. That's Anthony Mackie, everybody. Thank you. That's a deep cut Game Awards joke. We will talk Game Awards later. We have news that we're going to get into. It's tempting to just dive into the Game Awards. I'm not sure if we have anything.
I didn't get a chance to play anything this week.
Okay. Richard?
So.
No, I didn't either. Although I'm so stoked to get into New Game Plus on Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, that just dropped today.
I've heard a couple of the changes that have been made and sounds more substantial than we originally thought.
Really?
Apparently the opening is slightly different and he states it's a spiral. And
what?
Yeah, and there's a lot of new different changes like at the start.
Whoa.
Yeah. And there's a new ending.
Oh my God.
So it's a meta New Game Plus.
Yes, and then there's new introductions of things, and then I started going down a rabbit hole because someone did confirm that in the hotel where Zane is, that is Jesse on the TV along with Darling. Darling like shows up as well. TV after you first meet Zane, like if you stay there for a second and look at the TV, like it goes to.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa. And then I stared going to the rabbit hole, and then in Control,
spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, in Control, because I couldn't remember in Control, when Jessie goes into the motel, that's the Ocean View Motel that she goes into, and I thought I knew that was familiar somehow. So the at certain points.
Yeah,
that's the Ocean View Motel, whereas Alan goes into the hotel. She's in the motel version, and that is apparently a branch to other Remedy dimensions. Some of the doors, one, it has a spiral on it, and then there's another one that indicates one of their other games that they're making apparently. And, and so I'm like, oh my God,
literally Hotel California.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So I'm totally like I can't wait to play.
Yeah, and then we've got in 2 days I'll be hopping back into God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, that too.
So we're getting the Valhalla DLC, which I'm really excited for. Okay, so I'm sorry. What have you been playing?
Oh, I haven't been playing anything. No.
Nothing. Did we just go into Game Awards?
No, because I'm gonna go 45 minutes.
Oh my God!
Just kidding. No, I started Sea of Stars. Not typically a game that I play, but I saw it won an award, and it's one of the PlayStation games, and I started playing it, and I was like, oh, this seems kind of fun. The beginning of it's weird. It's got a very long intro, like an hour-long intro.
Part of the course.
And then once you actually get into the game, it's pretty interesting. Combat's pretty in-depth and challenging. It's an RPG, so you've got different characters that do, different attacks and stuff. Richard just opened
I was
trying
to stealth open a Dr. Pepper.
I was trying to stifle it. I was trying to kill it off. Like, shut up.
We are fine with opening the sounds of opening bottles and cans.
It should be very fast. I should just do it
fast. There you go. I don't know if that picked up on the mic.
That's better than anything else.
You good?
That's like that scene in scene in Step Brothers where he tries to hold in a fart and he's like, "Oh, I think that's onion and ketchup." John C. Reilly. I'll be honest with you, I did fart. Okay. No. So Sea of Stars is good. It reminds me a lot of. What's that? It's a roguelike, sci-fi roguelike, has a similar art style.
Okay, Crosscode?
Not Crosscode.
Oh, the one you reviewed?
The one I reviewed, yeah. Star Renegades. For some reason, it reminds me of Star Renegades. I think it's just some of the sounds are similar and stuff like that, because it's not a sci-fi game. It's like, I guess, fantasy. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't know how long I'll play it, but it's kept me entertained. The combat is not like a straight turn-based. When there are certain actions, and you on the PS5 you press X to like if you attack somebody and you press X right when your attack lands, you get bonus damage. If you press X right as an enemy attacks you, you can somewhat block it and like take a little bit less damage. There's other abilities there's two main characters, a girl and a guy, and they both have their own separate attacks, but like I forget her name, Valerie, something like that. Her attack, what was it called? Moonerang, I think. Moonerang. She tosses like a little moon crescent shape, and it bounces off enemies. And you can, if you keep timing it right, when it gets back to her, she deflects it back to the enemy. So you can get it going where it goes really fast if you can time it correctly, which is really neat. It's frustrating though when you get it once and it comes back slowly and you mess up and you're like, damn it. But if you get it a bunch of times, it goes faster and faster, but you can end up doing a bunch of damage that way. I'm not sure if the damage like goes down the more you attack, but it's a fun attack to do because it's exciting to see like how far you can get before you mess up and it just ends the attack. So yeah, trying that out, enjoying it. I don't think I think last week I mentioned that I finished Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh yeah, I don't think you mentioned it.
The ending is really interesting. It's not a perfectly written game. There's some awkward stuff about it, but I thought the themes where they take Cal's character, everything was better in this one. And the very last thing that happens, I think, is really interesting. And I'm really excited to see. I won't spoil it, but it kind of made me stop and think for a second, because it sort of forced Cal's character into a certain spot that I thought was really interesting, and I think it's really opened up because I know they're making a third one. I think the actor Monahan.
Yeah,
I don't remember his first name.
Cameron
Monahan. Yeah, I think he's already said that they've already started work on a third one. I don't know if he's like started motion capture or whatever, but so I'm really interested to see where they take his character for the third game, because they really set up for something interesting there, and it'll be cool to see where it goes. Him dealing with the dark side, him dealing with this overwhelming Imperial force. And then what do you do with his character? Because, he's clearly not in the movies, and I don't know how you're going to bridge the gap between like the beginning of A New Hope and, after Return of the Jedi and
he's
whatnot.
on Alderaan.
So that could be it. They wrote something in that I think might make sense, but it doesn't seem to jive with one of the themes of the game, so that'll be really interesting. And then one more.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
as far as Survivor goes, I'm going to spoil some real quick. Did you beat that?
No, I have not. I think, do you have to beat all the bounties?
Yeah, to get all the bounties. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. And I don't know why. I finished the game. I had fun with it, and to defeat the bounties, you have to. So Jedi Survivor, like Fallen Order, going from point A to point B is fun. Having to get back there is not fun because their maps aren't good. If you open your map, you can see everything the map has to offer. If you go to the fast travel menu, you only see the places you can fast travel to. So if you're looking around for boxes that have cosmetics in them, of which there are many and they're very cool, if you open your map and you see, oh, there's a cosmetic box over here I haven't opened yet, I'm going to fast travel over here. You have to go to a resting site, rest, open up the fast travel menu, and then you have to remember, oh, where was it that I saw that? How do I, which fast travel point? So it's just, and I don't know why it's like that. It seems like, why can't I just open the same map? That'd be a lot easier. It's not, so I don't know. It was like that in Jedi Fallen Order as well. It's like their map just was confusing and not great. And so it makes when you have to go out and do something not that fun, because getting there can be kind of annoying, especially because it's a Souls-like, which means it's like the first time through, it's fun to fight the Wampa. The third time through, fine, whatever. The fifth time through, I don't want to fight this Wampa again. So it's like, and because you had to go back for different things. So I think that kind of made me not as interested in it, just because it's like, I don't know, it's just getting to places isn't fun in the game when you have to return. There's a lot of like, why isn't there a rest point here? Why can't there be one here? Why do I have to go through this section again? And I'm sure that's difficult to set up and map when you're developing the game. But when I think about other games that have that problem, I don't think of a lot. I never remember a moment when playing God of War where it was like, oh, that's so inconvenient to get back over here or something like that. Or Red Dead, or even Cyberpunk, or Witcher. It's like, actually, the one part in Witcher that was a little annoying was the Bloody Baron, because you had to spawn at the thing in front of the bridge, and you had to ride the bridge and go all the way to the castle, because there wasn't a spawn point at the castle.
The castle that's like up higher. And so
where the Baron, where his home is. So that's like the one example.
Jerk.
But but when the point I'm trying to make is when I play games, I can't think of a lot of games where it's like, I don't want to do things, and the reason I don't want to do it is because just getting there is annoying. So
the Starfield experience.
So, that's a long-winded way of saying when you complete a bounty, you have to come back, turn in the bounty. It's weird because you're being told the bounty hunters are coming for you, and you're told where they are. So it's almost like you're hunting the hunters as if you have a bounty on them. It's strange, but
what if the bounty becomes the hunter?
You have to turn them in one at a time, right? So it's like you have to go back, turn it into the person. The person's like, "Oi, there, Cal." She's Australian. Mm-hmm. She's an alien, but she has an Australian accent. She's like, "There's a bounty hunter out there for you," and it's like, that's the best.
You're going towards JFK.
Slightly.
Don't ask what the Jedi Order can do for you. Ask what you can do for the Jedi Order.
Need more beans for the chowder.
Anyway, need more beans for the chowder here. So that's why I haven't done the bounty thing. Gotcha. I may go back to it eventually.
If not, at least watch the cutscene. It's a very, very cool cutscene.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's one of those. I guess I'll call it like a switcheroo cutscene, but
interesting.
But
okay.
It's very exciting because I didn't watch great in that, but like old Boba Fett, that cutscene is very much like reminiscent of him.
And I might go back because the combat is really good. It's just getting places that is annoying. Boba Fett's one of those characters that they probably shouldn't have brought back. He died at the Sarlacc. It's fine.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then fans for 30 years were like, but he came back alive. And
well, what if?
And what's that comedian's name that I'm blanking on? Mystery Science Theater 3000. He played Remy.
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt. He has that famous Parks and Rec improv where he's like, the glove of Boba Fett. The filibuster. Decapitated Chewbacca, all that. Anyway, that's clearly like satire, but then they actually did it, and now it's like, and now you have to make that we don't have to get into that. Okay. The other thing, I'm working on a review right now. I started the writing process. I finished it today. Talos Principle 2 is one of the best sequels to it's one of the best sequels of all time. Video games, period. Like when you think of best sequels, you can say Resident Evil 4, you can say Halo 2, Silent Hill 2, Final Fantasy 7, whatever. Talos Principle 2 is if you're having that discussion of like best sequels, which I admit is kind of weird. Talos Principle 2 is there. It is an exceedingly good game. Has crazy good writing, there's all kinds of themes. I don't want to give away the premise too much, but the first Talos Principle ends. So to take you back to the Talos Principle, humanity's gone. Mm-hmm. Humanity starts a simulation. They load it with everything that they know, the entire internet, right? The purpose of the simulation is to iterate AI until an AI generates sentience, a conscious, right? And then that AI has to inhabit a body, this super advanced android, and they go out into the world, and through that, humanity lives on, right? That's their last ditch attempt because a virus was going through the world and it killed everybody. That game came out in 2014. So that's how they lived. So you can choose not to do that in the Talos Principle, but the canon ending is the android exits the simulation, enters the physical world, goes out, and you don't know what happens. Super open-ended ending, right? Because the entire world is gone. It's one android. What could possibly happen?
It's just Portal's ending.
kind of. It's not super dissimilar. But Talos Principle 2, I thought, it's like, how do you write that? What are the things you're going to do? And they just leaned into it and made it really freaking cool. I'll give away a few things, not major spoilers because it's right off the bat, but basically there is a civilization of 1,000 androids, and the first android came out of the simulation, and then over the course of hundreds of years, because she takes on a female name and a female gender, builds technology and comes up with a way to make another android. And then that exponentially grows as there's more androids working to build this city, right? Which is a really interesting concept. So they eventually built this city, and that's where the story has to expand and go on. They consider themselves human, which is a really interesting thought experiment, because they're biologically not human. They're androids, but they inhabit everything that humans are. They talk like humans. They studied humans because they're androids. They have all of human history accessible to them. So it's like they are aware of humanity's past, but they consider themselves human. So that's an interesting question, because it's like, what is human? Is it the physical stuff that makes up our bodies? Is it the stuff that makes up our personalities and our cultures? That's really interesting. And there's all kinds of stuff like that. And they meld it together so well. The writers are Jonas Kiratzis, Tom Joubert, and Verena Kiratzis. I'm not sure if it's brother, sister, or husband, wife. I don't know. But the writing is just off the charts. In this one, there are other characters. So in the first one, it was somewhat by yourself. There were other characters, but you didn't really have, I don't know. They were all in opposition to you. You were sort of bouncing off them in a sense. But these characters are your friends that you get to know. And throughout the game, they change drastically. So there's this character named Melville, and Melville is an engineer. Basically, the main story premise is the mayor of Jerusalem, because New Jerusalem, which is the name of the city, they elect a mayor. This mayor detects a signal far away from their city. So like, we're going to go experiment. We're going to go investigate what this signal is. So you go out there, you're part of this expedition, and it's you and a team of other androids. And Melville is the engineer. And so Melville is very, she's kind of terse, doesn't have a lot to say. Everything is something that needs to be fixed, right? She's a diehard engineer. But toward the end of the game, once you start unraveling mysteries, once you start asking deeper questions, Melville begins to open up, and she starts to have her own opinions about what's going on. And each character does that, and it's just, it's so good. Yeah, there's a lot more I'll say about it in the review, but Talos Principle 2 is, it's just as good as the first one, maybe better, I don't know. And I think it's one of the best sequels of all time, and it's one of the best games this year. And yeah, one of the best puzzle games of all time as well. So, okay, are we ready for news?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Thanks for listening. If you like our content, please consider subscribing or leaving a like and comment. You can find us at patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. And our tiers are $2, $4, $7, and $10 and include getting your name in the video credits, early access, and access to our Discord server. Okay, so let's talk Game Awards. I watched the entire thing. Watched with my wife. I don't know if you guys sat down for the
I was able to
entire
grab bits and pieces of it.
I watched pretty much all of it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure we're going to have too many opinions that haven't been said a bajillion times, because really there's one giant opinion here, and it's why not let Neil Newbon talk a little bit more? Why not let Larian have an acceptance speech that isn't more than 30 seconds? And why the hell is Matthew McConaughey on stage? First off, he's a Texan Longhorns fan, so that's already like worse than being... Well, I won't say anything. That's worse than being somebody who likes orange juice and toothpaste. There, that's not my joke. That's Michelle. I forget the actress's name. But the point is, there are a lot of celebrities. People didn't get to accept rewards. We have the awards here. Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year. Game direction was Alan Wake 2. Best adaptation was Last of Us. Best narrative was Alan Wake 2. Art direction was Alan Wake 2. Performance, Neil Dubon, who was Hysterian in Baldur's Gate 3. And then best score and music was Final Fantasy 16. I did not play Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, that soundtrack is incredible.
Music. Yeah, it's good.
Is it better than Alan Wake 2?
They are completely different.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're completely... Because Alan Wake 2... Man, at the end of that chapter 1, I sat there and I was like, okay, what's going to happen with this song? And then I was like, whoa, whoa. Yeah. But it's like Alan Wake 2 has absolutely more of a contemporary modern soundtrack that, is actual band based. Whereas Final Fantasy 16 is, of course, orchestrated. But all of it, almost all of the tracks are absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. But it was, that was as much as I wanted. I knew 16 was going to win. The music one. Okay. Actually, it was very strange. I felt like most of these categories were very easily predictable. Yeah. In my opinion, there were some that I think there was one I kind of like had a couple of it could go either way, and I think it ended up going to Zelda
best action adventure. Yeah.
But I don't have much to say that everybody else has already said. I think that I'm peeved more so at of course always let people have their time when it's very weird that I understand they have to rent a space for X amount of time. This is an internet broadcast show. Yeah. It's not like it's a syndication or not on air. So it's like I would hope you could be at least a little loosey-goosey with your rules. But that's a problem for them to figure out. I have a problem with like a couple of the awards that are seemingly quite important that are kind of left to the wayside. In one of the like quick rapid fire succession awards, which seemed to peeve a lot of people. I couldn't care less about Sport Gamer. I think that like, as much as the fighting game community and fighting games have grown in the last couple of years, that they should have a spot, to shine, at least for like best fighting game. I know that there was another category that I felt kind of weird that it was in one of the rapid fire segments. It wasn't best racing, which that's also unfortunate. I understand there's not a lot of racing games that get released, but to like kind of lump them together with, it's kind of a weird one. Because you look at Game Awards, it really is a popularity contest.
I think in some ways, yeah.
I mean, all of these are deserved in one way or another, but sometimes it does come around to the popularity thing, which is unfortunate, but that's what it is.
Yeah, all jokes aside, the celebrity thing does bother me because it's just so... I don't know. I'm just going to sound pretentious, I guess, but it is very like, it's so commercialist. That's a word. It's so corporate. Matthew McConaughey's never played a video game. He was probably like playing bongos and hitting ayahuasca before he went up there, 5 minutes prior. He has no idea where he is. And he's like, pew, 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 all right. And it's like, okay, we get it. But I don't know. It just doesn't... If you want to celebrate games, you got to let people talk. And if you want E3, then I don't know. Give out a Game of the Year award and do E3 before that, Do we need Kojima and Jordan Peele on stage? Do we need that whole door opening to talk about his new game, movie, media thing? It just doesn't, that, I don't know, what did we get out of that conversation? What did it matter? And when someone, and maybe what bothers me the most is people like, you're right that a lot of the award categories are kind of dumb. Connor, you talk about best ongoing a lot.
It is the murkiest define award.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would go over better if it was best live service game.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
That is what they wanted to do with best ongoing game.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to just say best live service game for some reason.
I don't know why. Yeah, it's because they wanted to include Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cyberpunk shouldn't have won that award.
It shouldn't have.
It's not an ongoing game. The game finally released in the state it was supposed to.
Yeah. Right. And that's part of the problem is I think best ongoing has become sort of a sympathetic award. I don't know. Because like No Man's Sky will probably won it last year or the year before, and I don't know. I don't know what the line is between giving an award and how do you. Let me roll back for a second. So when you see Neil Newbon's reaction to winning, or you see Larian's reaction to winning, they care.
Mm-hmm.
That really makes them happy, right? So if people really get emotionally invested in winning these awards, then shouldn't we take seriously the categories and the nominees and who votes for them? If you're somebody who is voting for Game of the Year, I don't think it's crazy to say you need to play every single game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's like a gamer saying, if you don't 100% a game, you can't review it. I don't think it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you haven't played one of those games, how are you deciding? This issue comes up a lot
with a lot of award shows.
It does.
Yeah,
yes.
and it's not. Yeah,
because a lot of award shows, like especially like the Oscars, not everyone sees every movie that they vote on,
which is crazy to me because movies are 4-hour commitments at most.
4 hours is
at the very most, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I can understand somebody not being able to get, there was like 1,000 Game of the Year nominees this year, so I understand somebody not being able to get to every single one.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, when it comes to movies or albums, it's like you in 1 week you can hit them all.
which that's why like Disney has always swept the animations because they just assume that Disney was the best animated movie.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, no, if we're gonna make this a serious thing, then we need to take it seriously.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I'll just hark back to what I said 2 weeks ago. Gamers shouldn't have a voice in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. Well,
you can have like the.
You're probably right.
No. Okay. And we're gonna have this conversation because it has been coming up a lot. Okay. All right. Yeah. There is a very loud minority of Spider-Man 2 fans that think Spider-Man 2 got snubbed for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Which enthusiastically, no the fuck you did not.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is glorified DLC that should have been for Spider-Man.
Really that bad?
It didn't add much.
Okay, interesting.
It there are features from Spider-Man, the Spider-Man release from a couple of years ago that they just decoupled from gameplay mechanics and just gave the character or gave the players. So instead of having to unlock abilities by finding the suits, you have the abilities and now the suits are just cosmetic.
Okay.
So they're taking out features that people who would have been playing the game probably would have unlocked already. And now they're just adding 15 more hours of gameplay. Which that's not I'm not trying to downplay, it's only 15 hours, but that's a decent sized game, but they didn't really add anything to it.
Okay.
It's on there. It was on there because it got voted up by fan bases.
Well, I'm not sure how the nominees get put up there, but because I don't think the Game Award nominees are select. I think they were.
The nominees are selected by the publications.
Okay, by the publications.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is I forgot the percentage.
Vote.
There is percentages of who votes for what.
When it comes to, because I think the player choice is full.
That's full play. Yeah, that's
which Baldur's Gate 3 won.
Yeah.
But yes, and one of the reasons they only do a 10%. They only do a 10% stake, I guess, in voting, and they say this on their website, is because they don't want to get into, internet problems where a streamer tells 10,000 of his followers to
go vote for a
specific game or something like that. And so, and that, that muddies the vote process and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess all of it is true. If we're going to take it seriously, then
need to
the process
the
needs
people
to
that
be
vote for
rigid.
it need to be
Yeah.
more knowledgeable than the average participant.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is why typically you have industry insiders and reviewers voting on Oscars, Grammys, Emmys, that sort of thing. It's not given to the general audience to vote on. It's people that typically know more about what's going on.
Yeah, and maybe it's important to say that democracy is different.
And there's a lot in the gaming landscape. There's a lot of people who have no fucking clue what's going on, as the text I sent you guys the other day proves.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because actually, a good example of that is the best debut indie game, and Cocoon won, but very vocally everybody thinks that Pizza Tower should have won, which Pizza Tower may be a good game, but it's Wario Land. And it's already another game, just with a new coat of paint from someone different.
Yeah, and I didn't think I thought Cocoon was made by people that had a team that had made games before. Am I wrong on that?
It is, but they're still considered indie, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I don't know how that. Yeah, I don't know the story behind the team. It's a very good game, regardless. But yeah, and they talked about like Dave the Diver and how you and how you like delineate what's an indie game and whatnot. And I think what was it?
Oh yeah, the guys who did Limbo and Inside.
Yeah. So it's
but those are still indie. Those aren't like.
Yes, but I guess anyway. I don't want to get too stuck in the. Well, maybe that's the point. Yeah, maybe that's the point. It's like trying to figure out what these weeds are.
Oh, it's the guy who designed Limbo and Inside. He left and made this. So yeah, it's indie.
Okay.
So
Totally
it's
indie.
a new studio.
The other word in there is debut. So which I think indicates that it's like their first game, but it's experienced people making their first game under a certain studio, as opposed to like somebody who, this is the first thing I've ever made. I don't know. So how do you want to define that?
It may be semantics, but it counts.
Sure. I think another thing is that I don't know. And a lot of people were mad because they didn't talk about they didn't talk there was layoffs. There was a bunch of stuff they didn't mention. They didn't mention the people signed a letter that wanted solidarity with Palestine and stuff like that. Rebecca Valentine, I think it was her, that tweeted out something about them not doing anything about their reporting on what was going on at what's the team behind Black Myth?
Wukong.
I forget what that studio is named. It doesn't matter. But the point being is that you have all these serious things, and it's like, how do you handle it? And this year they seem to just do none of it. In the past, they've had moments where they made statements. They made statements about Activision Blizzard. They made statements about Kojima not being there and his fallout with Konami back in the day. So it's like, I don't know. I am not jealous of Jeff Keighley for being in that position, but I do find it, I don't know, do something rather than just ignore it altogether. But I also understand that, what do you want the show to be? Do we want it to be a recap of everything that's happened? Yeah. I mean, is that appropriate? Is it appropriate to try and fit all those things into a show where the next thing you see is an announcement trailer for Blade, or Matthew McConaughey walking out on stage, or Jordan Peele and Kojima, talking about how amazing they are? Like, how is that appropriate at all? Those things juxtaposing. And if you say, well, you should remove those things, I partially agree, but that's not the point of the show. I don't know. So none of it is like full-fledged, and none of it I don't think is thought out all that well. And maybe if you just went piece by piece, the first thing is people just need more time to speak about. And there was stuff about the timer going down was a manual timer. It was not like an automatic thing. You had to press a button to say.
Totillo said that.
Yeah, I think Stephen Totillo tweeted that out. So that was like a conscious choice. And I don't know what led to that. Jeff Keighley acknowledged it on Twitter that they didn't give enough time, and he put out a poll on Twitter, and I think most people rated it as a B, right? Or a letter grade rated the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, what did you think of it? And then
graded it as a B. So I think there are probably going to be changes. If you're worried about the length, I think you could take out those Kojima moments.
Yes.
You can take out the Gonzo bit.
Yeah.
You could take out, the studio. I keep bringing up Matthew McConaughey, but I think that's a really good point, because I don't know what does that excitement do? Like, what if you're a PR person? What does having McConaughey out there? What is the point of that? He's a famous actor, but then what? You watch a trailer. You don't even see him in the trailer. It's a pre-rendered trailer for a game. I don't think there was any gameplay in it.
No.
So it's like, okay, interesting, right? Matthew McConaughey could have walked out and introduced any of the games, and it wouldn't have made any difference, right? There was the actor that walked out and talked about StarCraft 2. At least he had an anecdote about video games. But then, like, he introduced his game, and it was like he's a famous actor who has a small part in this game, and then he unveiled a reward or an award. Do we need those things? Anthony Mackie came on stage and he did his stand-up routine. It's just like, I don't know. So
I heard in defense of Mackie, somebody made a TikTok who was actually in the audience. And they said the audience was actually really fucked up during his during him being up there. Like, none of the cameras caught it because the mics are only for.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But that's once again, words, but
okay.
But that's what I heard. So, and they said that he played, like, although it was awkward for us, he played it off as best he could. And I think the parts where he was trying to, like, announce it and he was like, shut up. Like, he was actually like, that was kind of his, like, limit, but he was, like, trying to be playful about it. But
okay. Well, that's strange.
But we're not going to get that. We already, like, damage has been done.
Yeah.
Like, for those opinions, which sucks. But I do agree that, like, unless, I don't know. Yeah. Get rid of the celebrity moments. Because this is not the VGAs anymore on Spike TV when but when celebrity, they tried to incorporate celebrities so much with video games. Nobody's watching this for celebrities anymore.
Yeah.
You tell us there's a cool new game we've never seen before.
It's been going on for 10 years, and now it's reaching, last year, 103 million viewers. Yeah. So it's not, little thing for video games. No, it's a big event. Yeah. People are watching it. So it's,
taking out the celebrities isn't going to make you lose any more viewers.
No. Nobody watched for McConaughey.
No. But yeah, and I guess the point I was trying to make there was, like, yes. And him being there, does that make the game that he showed off any more exciting?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Right?
I mean, it doesn't even, it doesn't even help that he wasn't in the trailer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know. There's just a bunch.
Unless McConaughey is like an executive producer for that game, it makes no sense for him to be there.
Sure. I don't know.
But even still, are we, like, is it the point of the Video Game Awards? Is it now just advertisement space for new games coming out?
Yeah. And I think you got to balance that somehow. Because I don't think it's a bad idea to have an award show with announcements. You just gotta choose one over the other.
Yeah.
And I think the awards have to be the point, and you have to let people talk. And I'm not saying anything that a billion people haven't said already. So I don't know. It's just such an obvious thing, and it sucks so much when those people don't have time to talk. Oh, the other thing, I really felt bad when Christopher Judge went out there and made fun of Call of Duty.
I didn't.
I felt bad. If we're going to, because we know we discussed what happened with this year's Call of Duty. It was supposed to be a DLC, then it got rebooted. There was a bunch of shit going on at which studio? Sledgehammer, I think, was this one?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of shit going on at Sledgehammer. So it's like, games are bad for a bunch of systemic reasons.
Yeah.
Right? And who do you blame that on? Well, studios sometimes do a bad job, sure, but I think there's other systemic issues, and there's issues where a publisher does things that are stupid, and who's in charge of publishers? Bunch of fucking executives.
Yeah.
So if we're going to make fun of somebody at the most watched game show, maybe we should drag executives and not, this game was bad, ha ha ha. I don't know. Am I taking his joke too seriously? I don't think so. Because it's just, why, if we're going to drag the industry, why not, again, make fun of the people that have the power to change it. A programmer working for Sledgehammer who, had to work on the sucky Call of Duty campaign, they can't do anything about the larger issues at stake.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make fun of, he's gonna be gone, but why not make fun of Bobby Kotick? Make fun of freaking Andrew Wilson, right? Take those people's names and drag those people's names through the mud because they deserve it. But again, that, I guess in some ways that would be making a statement, because then you're not just making fun of something, you're saying something is wrong with these people.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of issue with the way that these people interact with the industry, and that would be a more complex statement than this game sucks, LOL.
But it did.
And you go on. Not that that's not true.
I know.
Not that that's not true.
I'm being,
you are correct.
I'm being facetious and antagonistic.
And I know you know this, but there is a difference between honestly talking about a game and its faults.
Yeah, of course.
And then and insulting the development team, right? And I don't think some people can do that. Whether or not they hate the game or like the game, they cannot put a line there and clearly state something about a work of art separate from treating the people that made it like human beings. And I don't think it's respectful to crack I don't know, maybe that's too dramatic. I really don't know. But if we're going to make fun of, if we're going to crack jokes like that, crack the jokes at the people that have massive bank accounts and don't give a shit anyway, right? Maybe they do. I don't know. Bobby Kotick wanted to buy fucking Kotaku. So maybe he would be mad if you cracked a joke at his expense. But when we win Content Creator of the Year, I'm gonna be embarrassing. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna say, "Hey, Bobby, Kotick, fuck you, man!" I'm gonna just, you guys are gonna be embarrassed, okay?
5 years after the fact.
I'll go on a 10-minute rant about Star Citizen, and it still won't have released yet.
I'm gonna have a list of names, all the executives. I'm gonna say, "This guy, what a dick! This guy, son of a bitch! This guy." I'm not gonna thank anybody.
Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Sam Lake, what's up, man? And they just keep going. No. So I guess have we said everything we wanted to say?
Get rid of ongoing game award.
Yeah, that's another one that I don't like.
We
also shouldn't celebrate mobile games. If your mobile game has microtransactions, it should be disqualified.
Yeah.
Oh, best family game is a shoe-in for Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Who else
it needs to be the best Nintendo game.
Yeah, I think best ongoing.
It's such a nebulous name.
It's a more of a storyline award. It's a sympathy award.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well,
I don't know.
No, because I think it's intended to be more along the lines of live service game.
Yes, but in practice, it is a storyline.
Yeah.
It's Cyberpunk should win an award because they released it when they shouldn't have, and now it's here, and now all everyone wants to talk about is, whoa, it's amazing, instead of, why did it release in the first place?
Executives.
And that's not how, that shouldn't ever, why did that happen?
Executives.
And I don't know. But that's a more complex critique because that gets into economics, that gets into quarterly reports and shit, and
to
shareholders.
prevent those narratives from being solidified by it won an award. Don't give awards to nebulous genres of game.
Yeah, and I think part of my worry is if you are really rigid and strict about award categories and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think part of the worry is that you'll be viewed as pretentious or rigid, But at the same time, if the people that win these awards really appreciate it,
I think there is an appropriate time for pretentious ideas, and that is award shows.
Okay.
Again, the best game should be the game that had the most impact that year. That was Baldur's Gate.
It was, yeah, without a doubt.
Fucking everyone was talking about Baldur's Gate after it released. The Spider-Man 2 fans that are pretending they never heard of it, absolutely heard of it.
Are there really Spider-Man 2
Yes.
People are pretending like they've never heard of it before.
I have seen many comments from different people like, oh, 99% of gamers didn't know about Baldur's Gate till the Game Awards. And I'm like, if 99% of gamers, if 1% of gamers is 20 million copies, then your 5 million copy selling game is nothing. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I want to believe you, so I'm just going to believe you because there.
Unfortunately, these are actual comments and these are actual narratives being pushed by people. Yeah.
All right.
It's ridiculous.
Sure. Yeah.
Which, to wrap back, gamers shouldn't have a voice in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, not
my
gamers.
opinion on this whole thing is, I don't know. Just let Neil Dubon talk a little bit more, okay? Let the Game Awards people, let them speak more. I think having music played from the games is really cool. That's a cool way to celebrate the games. Yeah. You know, having live performances and stuff like that. But why not just?
There's a lot to like about the Game Awards, but you know, there's equally as much to not like.
There's enough to have a good show, and then there's a lot that can be trimmed to make that good show happen.
Yeah.
And if you need presenters, why not? I understand that like McConaughey and the other actor were involved with their games. I don't know if Mackie was involved with the game or not. Oh, that's right. That's right. He was up there to announce, the second season. But why not involve voice actors why not, I don't know. I'm just fucking spitballing now, but it's like, but Norland North up there, let him announce something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's partially, and this is another discussion with games, is it's like so many people are so concerned with games being an art form, but when we try and like spotlight the artists, people don't like that. You have to spotlight people that people already know, it's like, I don't know, put David Hayter up there. Whatever. Now I'm just
the only
rambling.
reason that like McConaughey, Mackie had his for Twisted Metal, but McConaughey is because it's a big name, and executives are like, oh, people know who McConaughey is, but people aren't going to be like, oh, well, watch the Game Awards, McConaughey's in it.
I didn't even know he was going to be there until he came on stage.
Yeah, they're doing this for like demographics when the demographic is already going to be watching it because gamers want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It's also so funny.
So
to me.
they're worried about like, oh, if Nolan North goes up there, like my grandma isn't going to know who that is. Your grandma isn't fucking watching the Game Awards, all right? Yeah. She's not going to be like, oh, McConaughey when he comes on stage.
Yeah.
All right. Leave them out. Bring up people that actually are involved in video games.
Yeah. That's.
And if McConaughey is voice acting in that game.
McConaughey is so high, he thought he just walked off the set of True Detective. he went straight. He's like, Woody, I gotta go.
And he killed both roles. Okay, so
if he's actually in that game, then I apologize, McConaughey. But maybe put out the game first before bringing him on stage.
I don't sleep. I just dream. Straight to the Game Awards. I'm doing more Bill Clinton there than Matthew McConaughey. I don't know. And partially, I don't like Matthew McConaughey because of the Longhorns thing. I take that that's an extremely offense to me. But anyway, Richard, you were going to say something.
No, I do think it's funny though. Like the one celebrity to not make the splash is like the one who's had arguably like the most video game experience is Timothée Chalamet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because he came out and he didn't say a fucking word. He was just like, yeah, I'm here to announce video.
Timothée Chalamet, son of a bitch.
There it is. But yeah, people forget he had like a YouTube channel. So
yeah, modding Xbox controllers and whatnot. Yep, the trade is
cool
up there. Okay, is that all we want to say? I apologize. It was just a unzipping of the Game Awards takes. But I think everyone's basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's very corporate. do you want to celebrate games or do you want to be E3? I understand the position Jeff Keighley and the team is in, because it's like, how do you address all these things? What do you do? But I don't know. I'm sure it's not impossible. I'm sure they could do something. And they've made statements in the past. And in the future, make fun of Kotick. Don't make fun of, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, and then you get in the way of specific announcements too, because it was before the Game Awards, it was like incredibly obvious that Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be announced as a shadow drop for Xbox. Like that night. Like it just all the hints and all the like stay tuned, whatever. It was completely obvious, and they were supposed to announce it when they won the Game of the Year awards, but they didn't get enough time. And they didn't. And after the Game Awards ended, there was no announcement of it, and like all of my like deal websites and Twitter were just like, "Oh, it's up now." Like,
I didn't know that.
and so and what's his name confirmed that
Xbox did tweet it out during the Game Awards.
They did. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed that. Yeah, but
Well, yeah, they had the Xbox One where the character would be in the character Baldur's Gate.
It's good. The guy, the one who's wearing the armor, I forgot his name, but
Sven.
Yeah, he was supposed to say it during the speech, but he forgot or something because of all the like timing and everything. So
Okay,
but I think just to wrap this up, a good like balance to allow for game announcements to happen and the Game Awards to just be the Game Awards is stop announcing games, and then the companies are going to want to try and push to have the ad space, the commercial breaks in the show filled with game announcements.
Yeah, but that's not. You're correct. Practically speaking, that's not exciting though.
Yeah,
But
it's a game award. It's an award show. They're not supposed to be exciting.
But I don't.
We should be watching film during.
You want to? You really want to? We're gonna break down this 3-4 defense. We're gonna run the triple out. No, so because you can do both. You can do awards and game announcements.
Yes,
I don't think there's anything inherently wrong. It's just the way they've been going about it is bad, and everybody knows it. And whatever. It just don't become E3. Because I haven't missed E3. Have you guys missed E3?
I completely forgot E3 isn't happening.
I don't want to say I missed E3. I just miss a centralized
sure
slotted time that I could all of these. I'm anticipating all of this stuff in this amount of time. But also I'm also quite excited when they state of play next week. Shit, cool. So those are fine to stick with. But it sucks because E3 I could also focus on the little guys. It wasn't just the big guys, the little guys I could see too. And now the little guys, they make announcements. And
here's my solution.
I mean,
all right. You don't let the big companies have their space on the Game Awards. They have to buy ad space. Yeah. And for all the indie companies that are wanting to get there, you have Joseph Ferris come up. Yeah. He'll talk shit about EA and then he'll announce a game. Okay. And just have him do that cycle, come up, talk shit about EA, new game. Talk shit about EA, new game.
Here's an idea.
Talk shit about EA, new game.
I say we take all the game developers and we put them in a pit and we make them fight each other. And whoever wins gets an announcement before
10
the game.
10 man ninja, 1 man leaves.
Exactly. You have to pick your weapons. Matthew McConaughey's down there. He doesn't know what's going on. This is how we're gonna do it. Everybody's in there. Jeff Keighley's reporting live. You can't attack him. He's safe, but he's got his mic. We're good to go. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Morale is low at Bungie. This is from a story written by IGN's Rebecca Valentine. It covers a lot, and we'll go through a couple bullet points here. But the large point is, with Bungie reportedly struggling to meet financial targets, a full takeover from Sony seems likely. Bungie's board is split between Sony and Bungie leadership. Multiple sources tell IGN there was a department meeting after the recent layoffs at Bungie in which leaders hinted this shared power may not last forever. If Bungie falls short of certain financial thresholds by too great of an amount, Sony is allowed to dissolve the existing board and take full control. The board's current members are PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulst, Sony Senior Vice President Eric Lempel, Bungie co-founder Jason Jones, Bungie CTO Luis Villegas, and Bungie CEO Pete Parsons, with the final shape, which is a Bungie, Destiny 2 expansion, delayed till next year, and Bungie investing heavily on Marathon, which I think is their extraction shooter, I think. Or is it extraction?
That's an extraction shooter.
Many employees understand that Bungie is struggling to meet the necessary financial targets. With this threat looming, it was Bungie leadership's choice to lay off about 100 employees last month, and other employee services have been cut. Multiple individuals across various departments told IGN they'd heard of plans to increase outsourcing both before and after the layoffs. One employee asked at a post-layoffs Q&A if leadership taking salary cuts to prevent layoffs had been considered, and the department head said that Bungie was, quote, not that type of company.
Oh, boy.
And again, that's all Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. And there was other details in the story, too. So go check it out if you want to get deeper into it. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. I'll let you guys, if you guys have any opinions you want to voice first, go ahead.
I think they should stop working on Marathon. Marathon was like a good game before Halo. It came out before Halo, but it was like a Doom shooter.
Yeah.
I think it was something similar.
Yeah. It was, it was good, but I just don't think. I don't think extraction shooters are as popular as these companies think they are. Because we have gotten a lot of extraction shooter announcements and releases, and none of them have seemed to make a splash as much as like 5 versus 5, hero-based shooters have, or esport shooters have as well. I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the problems might have come from Jim Ryan before he left. Because he seemed to be the one pushing for like the live service initiative that Sony was going for. And Destiny, I think, has the potential to make so much money. And I mean, they did, because that's why they went free to play in the first place. But I know that a large point of contention with fan base is the Eververse, which is the Destiny that you would use real money to buy cosmetics and stuff. Just like the problems that Diablo 4 is having, Overwatch is having, these products that they're selling, quote unquote products that they're selling, are way too expensive for what getting. So like Overwatch 2 had that like Lilith bundle for this character from Diablo 4. It was like $40. And it's like it's a digital skin. I've always had the notion, just me personally, I know companies are not the same, but if you make a product, I know it costs money to make a product, but if you price that product, buy it because it's cheaper, rather than getting as much money as you can up front and then have it trail off towards the end. That doesn't make sense. And I think Bungie is now suffering the consequences of having things priced at so much at the Eververse rather than having it on the cheaper side and potentially getting more money.
I do think it's interesting that I don't know, that Destiny 2 is in this position. I don't follow Destiny 2. I haven't played it in years. I played it and finished it right after it first came out, and that was pretty much it for me. But and I've gone back to it maybe once since then. But this doesn't seem like it bodes well for PlayStation. If PlayStation has what they have, like 10 live service games in the works right now, various studios, and multiple times. I think we've had a couple stories now where it's like they've been having trouble, or I don't want to characterize it incorrectly, but I feel like wasn't there a story about the Last of Us multiplayer game that was delayed or something like that?
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly, so don't quote me on that.
Talked about that
supposedly
not too long ago.
Yeah, supposedly they brought in higher ups from Bungie to take a look at Last of Us.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
Multiplayer mode, and basically tell them what was wrong with it.
Yeah. Okay.
At least that's how it was framed. I don't know if that's exactly how it went down.
But so you have PlayStation in this huge push for live service, and this popular live service game that they got isn't doing well. So it's like out of the gate, the thing that you didn't even start under, that is now under your control, isn't doing well. And that's besides the fact that I don't even know if this entire business model is good to begin with. Does it produce good games? I don't know. I think that is open to debate as well, but that's a much larger issue. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people discuss PlayStation as if they have no future, and that confuses me. Because to me, they're at the top of the food chain when it comes to consoles, and I don't think that they're running out of steam. In the past 5 years, we've talked about this multiple times. The past 5 years, they've had, Ghost, Horizon. There's another game in there. I don't remember, but like they've had a couple new IPs. Older IPs were also super successful. Spider-Man. I don't know if you want to count Spider-Man as a new IP.
It's game of the year.
But the 2017, 2018 Spider-Man was essentially a new IP.
Yeah.
Obviously, Spider-Man's old, but
God of War.
God of War was a new revamp. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you have all these future prospects, and I don't know. To Sony, maybe that's not a viable way to do a video game business. But if that's not a viable way to do a video game business, then what the hell is? And that just frustrates me, I guess, because you have all the pieces there to continually make really good games, and you'll be fine. But you're investing in this other thing that you don't seemingly have a grasp on, and now you're struggling with a studio that you bought, or not bought, but studio that you acquired, and it's not. They clearly don't have full control. I don't know. I'm curious as to how this impacts other acquisitions, because Xbox is known as giving a little more autonomy to the studios that it acquires. Sony, it seems like Sony really sort of, once they buy you, they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll let you do what you want, but we're going to be looking over your shoulder. That's the idea I got when we read those stories about like Days Gone and Ben Studios, right?
Sorry to interrupt on that point, but as good as all of those games have been that we have named from Sony in the last 5-6 years, they are all formulaic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're third-person cinematic action adventure games, and I don't know where I was going with that. Never mind.
It is a correct. It is a correct critique, because you could also ask, okay, Tyler, but then
so I was kind of making a comment on Sony's like kind of control, as if they do take full control of Destiny, what first-person shooters are attuned with. Like, what will they do to tweak it?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I have no idea what they would do. I'd assume they do.
I doubt they do anything, but I'm just,
Yeah, I'd assume they do the things that they think would make the quickest amount of money and the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it would be cool if Destiny just broke off the multiplayer aspect and made that a separate thing to compete with. I mean, not that it needs competition, but like Halo Infinite and stuff like that, because Halo Infinite's story for its multiplayer is that it's Spartan training.
Yeah.
Like, which I do think is a neat idea, but like same idea applies to Destiny, like Guardian training, whatever.
Yeah.
Have it be that and have that multiplayer aspect, because people do love the Destiny so much. Why not give it to them solely focused experience rather than having to because I've played Destiny a lot, and I had a friend join us. He'd never played Destiny, but I had him join us for multiplayer games. Really enjoyed it, but he was hurt by the fact that he would have to go through all of the rest of this to kind of get what he there. That kind of like went away.
Yeah, and I don't know how they. I don't know. I haven't played the game in a long time, so I don't know if there are any like in the weeds reasons why you have to go do certain things to do other things in Destiny. But is it? I don't know. Is it crazy to think that when we just had games and there was a single player portion and a multiplayer portion, they were complicated and difficult to make, but there was a wall there. and everything was fine. And now you have this weird world where you have to like you have to make a multiplayer game that also has PvE and co-op elements, that also has extraction and looting, because you're like trying to build out to all these different markets, and you have to work in microtransactions into all that, and you have to continuously update it. You have to retain players. So it's just because it becomes this like monstrosity, right? It's so weird to think that, I don't know, to see what Destiny is now and what it was when it first released. It's just so surreal, because it's like human evolution. It's like looking back at, Homo erectus and being like, that was Destiny, the first one, and now we're here. And it's been so long, and there's so much stuff, and it's so complicated. And so much of that is because of the live service economy stuff. And is that the way you want to go? I don't know. Yeah, I don't have much else to say.
I think that Bungie should stop being not that type of company.
This is true. Yeah. And I don't know if
before laying off employees, the executives that make too much money should take a cut, because it's their decisions that are resulting in mediocre success.
Yeah, I think you're generally correct. Yes.
The concept artist that spends 8 hours a day designing a landscape isn't contributing to the end product of our game isn't selling well. They're contributing to the game, but they're not making any decisions for that game. They're told, hey, we need this, and they go and do that. And then they provide that. And then somewhere down the line, some executive says, no, never mind, we're not doing that, we're doing this, and the game doesn't do well.
Yeah, it would be interesting if someone did like an economic study of, because studios in Japan don't have the same pay disparity. Like, correct? Or am I wrong there?
I
maybe not
don't
all
know
studios.
specific. I know that
maybe that was wildly inaccurate. I'm sorry.
I know that their work culture is not as good as ours.
Yeah, that's probably wildly inaccurate. So strike that from the record.
I did have an interesting conversation. Sorry, because we're talking about the Japanese market now. I did have an interesting conversation with my my employee today, and I was mentioning the fact that in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, we had this era of publications being like, Japanese gaming dead. Like, wow, what is going on? Because like Western studios were coming up and making better games than Japan was, and that. And we got to the point now that Japanese games were just on the lower totem. American games were higher. Western games. Now we kind of come to this point, we're in 2023, and it seems like towards the end of the 2010s, Japan kind of went, well, let's just go back and focus on some of the franchises that we love, that our fans love, and let's try to improve those. So we've gotten Monster Hunter World, gotten Resident Evil. I mean, it's mostly comes from Capcom.
We're gonna get Silent Hill.
We're gonna get Silent Hill. We're gonna get but all of these games seem to be a more what video games people are kind of like into, like something that is complete, something that is out.
Sure.
It is not. There's no Japanese game that is incomplete. I can't think of any. It's all Western games.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting thought. Yeah, I don't know enough Japanese games made in Japan,
right,
to think about that. But when I think about games that got famous because they were incomplete, I can't think of a
like
game.
There are like weird outliers. Like I mean, I know this is an aged example, but like the Dead or Alive series, the fighting game series, like a lot of their like outfits and stuff are like all deals. That's very obvious. Very obvious, like bait, but
Yes.
but sorry, because you mentioned the work, I was just kind of interested in thinking about, a lot of people are now, one of the most anticipated games now is Dragon's Dogma 2, coming out next year. That's kind of flipped.
Yeah, man,
Japanese games have more quality than American.
That would be. We need what economist.
There you
There we go. We need an economist because like if you're a game developer in a European country under the European Union or something and you have socialized healthcare, then how does that change your pay, right? And how does that change the work culture, right? I think that's all really interesting questions because in the United States, so many development studios are in places with incredibly high costs of living. The San Francisco Bay Area, I don't know. I assume Seattle probably is not cheap to live in. And then Montreal, that's in Canada. But I assume Montreal is probably not
Irvine,
super
California.
cheap. Yeah, everywhere in California is expensive to live. I don't know about Austin, Texas. I have no idea about Texas, but I know Austin's a big hub for game development. But when it comes to cost of living, I don't know. I know taxes are different there. So I don't know. When it comes to the difference between like...
We need THQ back in Phoenix.
Okay. Was
Milton Friedman on the show next week.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get him in here. He'll break down Reaganomics for us. That'll be great to have one of the architects of deregulation and the drug war in here. I'm just kidding. Milton Friedman didn't do that, or did he?
Whoa.
Okay.
Him and Alan Greenspan next week.
And then we'll get Oliver North. We'll just go through the 80s. We'll get the Iron Lady in here, and she'll tell us why poor people suck.
From the grave.
Yeah, exactly. We can do a resurrection spell. You know, it'll be fantastic. We can go to the Falklands War, and she can explain to us why England needs an island 1 billion miles away. It'll be fantastic. It'll be great. We'll just go through the 80s. You know. Do you want to do tidbits?
Yeah.
Okay. What if I told you, in this world, there are bits, and there are tids, and Richard is the only man who can put them together into tidbits. There are known knowns, and there are unknown unknowns, and I am a dipshit. That's my Donald Rumsfeld, everybody.
I hate it. Thanks. Sega wants classic reboots to show their edginess and rebellious mindset. With the announcement of a handful of remakes at the Game Awards 2023, which I'm very excited about, Sega COO Shuji Utsumi has commented on the visual stylings of the game shown off in their mashup trailer. Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Shinobi, Jet Grind Radio, and Crazy Taxi all have had a spotlight in the new trailer, and fans have been buzzing. He says, quote, "The concept of games like Jet Set Radio is advanced. The original creators are involved again, and it is time now." He said, "It is a good time where people can appreciate all kinds of concepts." Now, back in the Dreamcast era, Sega was in last place and ultimately, of course, failed to make major headway, causing the company to become a publisher-only label. However, that specific console era has arguably some of the most unique and most appreciated games of that era. When asked about another one of Sega's popular classic franchises, Virtua Fighter, he said, quote, "We are evaluating it right now. Virtua Fighter doesn't use so many tricks, special moves like in Street Fighter. It's very realistic. And how can we make it more dramatic? It is something we are working on."
That's one of those announcements that happened really quick, and I missed it.
Oh man, that sucks. It was so cool. I was
all the stuff.
So stoked.
Shinobi
looks gorgeous.
Dan Carlin, who is a podcast historian, he described the Japanese Empire during World War II as a supernova because it expanded and then it contracted really quickly, right? As a star does when it explodes. I feel like Sega was the same way because, man, Sega got big and then they just went right back in. And they still exist, so it's like White Dwarf Sega. Right?
Yeah, that was I guess partially Sega of America, actually mostly Sega of America's fault.
Man, it's so weird to think about that. It's so weird to think that at one point in time, because for the past 20 years, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox. That's it. Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. But there was a whole time before that where it was like, at one point, it was like, the Browns used to be a team where it was like, oh shit, the Browns are in town. We're going to lose this week. Back in the 50s and 60s, it was like, oh damn, here come the Browns. They're going to kick our asses. And now it's like they're a joke. It's just it's just weird to think that at one point in time it was like Sega was going toe to toe with Nintendo and winning at some point.
You know what sounder we need? The Sega yell.
Yeah, I would love it. That would be awesome. Although we don't talk about Sega much, so I don't know whenever we'd use it.
I think the only times we talk about it,
we have,
right now is one of them.
We have infinite ammo, and how often do we use that?
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's my fault.
Fun fact, real quick: Sega is technically an American company.
Is it?
Yeah, it was co-created by an American guy.
Oh,
who stayed over there during World War II, and he was like, "Hey, these are pretty cool arcade games."
Really interesting.
Sega stands for Service Games.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay,
Sega Service Game.
Just keep bringing the facts. Come on.
I don't feel like
one more second. One more second fact. I want one
tidbits.
more.
I mean, I already said it, but I guess Sonic had a girlfriend named Madonna. Whatever.
Okay, that's fine.
Human girlfriend.
That's cheating. It's from our Coffee and Pie, but whatever.
Yeah, but I knew it.
Yeah, but not everyone was watching that, Tyler. All right.
Fortnite has been apparently working on their hub idea since 2017. Donald Mustard, former chief creative officer over at Epic Games, took to Twitter to show off notes from his phone from 2017 regarding the evolution of what Fortnite has become recently with the addition of Lego Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and Fortnite Festival. Along with his notes, Mustard had this to say, quote, "I think this is the first time we kind of drew out our crazy idea, the idea to evolve Fortnite into a place where you can have all sorts of different agency-driven games and entertainment experiences with your friends, all connected by your hub, your locker, cosmetics, progression, etc. It was such a huge, audacious vision. We knew it would take years and so much work on so many fronts. We can't believe how close we were and how many would have guessed it would take about 6 years. The plan changed and evolved a million times, but today you are playing the true version of the dream of Fortnite. Where it goes from today for the first time, I don't actually know. But I know Epic and the amazing people will keep making it better and more innovative and delightful than ever before." And I think that is very interesting. Recently, with the addition of Fortnite Festival, they're single-handedly bringing Rock Band back, so that's great.
And that Lego trailer was actually kind of interesting.
I've played it. I forgot to say, it's really good. It's not even like. So you think it's like Fortnite, but in Lego, no, it is Minecraft. It's Lego Minecraft.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is redundant because Minecraft is Lego. But
yeah,
but it's like if you took Minecraft, Lego, Fortnite, and Dark Souls and like put it together.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because when you encounter like enemies, like you dodging, attacking, and like dodge rolling and stuff like that. But I've played a little bit of it, and wife was watching me. And she was kind of like, "Is this gonna be our next thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably," because it was interesting. It does not feel like Fortnite. It feels like a completely different game.
Okay.
I haven't tried Rocket Racing yet. I was excited to, and I probably will try Fortnite Festival, which they've already confirmed that they're working on instrument implementation. So if you have any of the Rock Band instruments, you will be able to use those on Fortnite Festival. Yeah. Fortnite Festival is literally just Rock Band. I don't know if you've seen anything from it yet.
What version of instruments? Because I do have a 360 drum.
So I don't know how that's going to work.
Closet.
I don't know how it's going to work because, I don't know how it's going to work because none of the instruments from before PS4, Xbox One are compatible unless you either do specific things or have specific things. So I don't know how it's going to work, but because Xbox 360 ran on a proprietary wired and wireless signal. And then when they moved to Xbox One, you needed to buy a Rock Band adapter so you can connect it wirelessly to that adapter that plugged into the Xbox One.
Is that why those... okay, so Bluetooth was not as ubiquitous when in 2006.
Yeah, it was. Not in 2000. Well, not in 2006. Not in 2006. Yeah, it was around, but it wasn't.
And Bluetooth does require some kind of hardware implementation.
Yes,
right.
PS4 has or PS3 has Bluetooth in it, but they never used it.
So, that proprietary thing you were talking about. My question was that proprietary system there as a practicality because there really wasn't like a mass market alternative, or was it just we don't want to use Bluetooth, we want to use our own thing?
Oh, the proprietary thing was Microsoft.
Yeah.
That was like, no, you're using our stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Yeah, so that's why, like, if you can't find any third-party wireless controller for 360 because Microsoft's technology. Nobody else use it.
Okay, but you would think that the ability was there for them to implement Bluetooth
If
with
they
more
wanted to.
availability. Okay,
For-
and thank
for-
God that has become like it is so nice that the DualSense is Bluetooth enabled,
So-
because that was such a fucking pain in the ass to deal with that with the DualShock 4.
Oh yeah, absolutely it was. Yeah, it was terrible. But Xbox One and PS4 guitars do have.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, it sucks because after everybody was decided they were done with Rock Band and guitar, they're like, get it out of here. We don't want it anymore. Decided to throw away their guitars or donate them. And of course, the late 2000s or early 2010s, everybody was like, oh, I kind of want to play Rock Band again. Well, and then they're like, well, here's Rock Band 4. And everybody's like, meh. And nobody bought it. And now those guitars are like over $150 each.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, and the drum sets, don't even talk about those. They're like $300. And then
Are they?
Yeah.
I have one in the room next door.
You probably get a pretty good amament for that, but it'd be harder because someone
It's
would have to
used.
buy a 360, you know.
Well, I think that one is Xbox One, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because I have a copy of Rock Band 4. So.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they do instrument implementation, well, they'll have to figure out how. Because stuff in and people, how are they going to find a guitar?
Yeah, because it's expensive.
It's not going to make
Yeah.
it go up higher.
Yeah. That whole history is fascinating to me. We were talking about, my wife and I were talking, we were watching the Game Awards, and there was something that we brought up, and I was like, Richard would know, but I forgot what it was. Damn it, what was it? It was something about games history and something to do with a console, but it's gone. It's fleeting. It has been lost like tears in the rain. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
There's a console called the FM Towns Marty that you put in your car.
If you don't stop talking,
Okay.
you're never gonna get rid of me, man. You talk nerdy like that.
Talk nerdy to me.
Okay, I think that's good for now.
The reason
Follow
why
us-
Sega Saturn became so successful towards the end was because they're 18 and older porn games
Wait, really?
in Japan. Yeah, I mean they weren't like, I mean, I've seen some of them there.
And of course, the 17 and younger porn games weren't as
popular.
It's only the 18 older porn games.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse, Patreon.com/The Gaming Discourse. Bye.
Bye.